Hello, good morning all. So today we will start to discuss the next session with respect to the dissertation. Yesterday we seen a lot of discussion regarding the selection of topic and the title. Today we will further start. Today we will start with respect to the writing of synopsis. Yesterday we have discussed how this topic is to be selected and what will be the content in that. For the topic selection, that is it audible to you all of from my side? I unmuted to all. Please tell me, is it audible to you clearly? Please. You can chat is whether there is a problem in connection or whatever it may be. Okay, thank you. So today we are going to with respect to the which will give the broader idea about our topic. Why we have to write the synopsis? That is a question in our mind. Is it visible? Screen? So writing synopsis. Why? Till topic selection, we read a lot about our topic. At level, we have an idea about what type of topic we have to select, what should be the title. Till title framing, we have a better idea what will be the issue we will tackle in our overall project. At the same time,
टोक्याला बांध टोपी
on what themes and what topic we have to be highlighted much more that we discussed. So what is synopsis actually? Synopsis is the gist of your overall project. From that synopsis, the reader should have a get clear idea about your project, what should be included in that, in your further project. So, So synopsis is the gist of our project, what we are going to be tackled throughout the year or 2 years or whatever it may be the period. But that the gist means what? What you are going to be, the steps, all those steps are included in the synopsis. We can say that it can be a panoramic view of your research, which will give the quick analysis what you will do, and that is also required for your jurors. When you are going to define your project, when you are going to justify your project, that will give a panoramic view to your reviewers, your jury members. Then they can decide whether this topic is suitable or not, whether the steps which are included in this topic, those are right or wrong, and accordingly the synopsis is going to be finalized in general process. So generally in all over, see, every university has a different structure with respect to the writing synopsis. Many a times at undergraduate level, the criteria are different. At postgraduate areas are different. Here, many are in Shivaji University, the criteria is like that we have to be introduced with the title. Then content of synopsis should be introduction, statement of problem on hypothesis, review of literature, aim and objectives. Many times people write that aims and objectives. So that is wrong. Aim should be single and aim and objectives, that is right. Scope and limitations, not scopes, scope and limitations, research methodology, references and other official requirements. Many universities demand that they should include the hypothesis at postgraduate level, but in Shivaji University that is not recommended. The hypothesis and statement of problem is not required. Many universities included questions, research questions or the project questions that also included in the synopsis part. But in Shivaji University, hypothesis and the research question, these parts are deleted. And the overall synopsis content is the title, introduction, review of literature, aim and objectives, relevance of the study or the justification of the study, scope and limitations, research methodology, references and official documents. And what should be the length of synopsis? That is also a question. Length may vary up to 1500 words to 2000 words. That is the general criteria in all over India. You have to write the synopsis with respect to the. Is it audible now? The voice is breaking or clear? Archana, is it clear? See if there is a network problem, please. So, is it clear to you what should be the content of synopsis as well as the length of synopsis? The length of synopsis should be 1500 words to few thousand words. 2000 means not 5000, 6000, 10,000, 1500 to 2000 approximately.
Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, can you just explain me the statement of the problem and hypothesis describingly?
Yeah. Each and every title I will explain in detail now.
Okay, ma'am.
With example. So today I started the audios all from your side also. I have not muted all of you because if you have please, but you ask questions at the end of the session, that will be better for me also, and that will not give the breaking of connectivity. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am.
No, it's okay. But we will discuss definitely at the end of the session. And from
Yes,
your side, you can mute because today I have not muted to all of you. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So the next point is the project should this is the yesterday slide. The last slide of the yesterday I have repeated again here because the continuation of the yesterday's part is going to be tackle today's part, that is writing synopsis. The project should include the following components: identification of area of interest within the student's profession. Yesterday we discussed all of that. Key student professions means basic you are doing academic as well as that. So I will mute all of you. Okay. So identification of area of interest within the student's profession, that should be there. A specific design question developed through research of the theoretical resources and graphic analysis of case studies. An explanation of how the question is relevant to the profession. A well-resolved design project that explores the question and proposes a creative solution. And conclusion based on the design that advances the profession. That should be included. That the gist of all these points should be included in your synopsis. Then only that will be the ideal synopsis and that can be fulfill your finished product. The project must present the author's ideas clearly, precisely and correctly. Means what? If we question to your synopsis these points, then the answer should be from your side. From your side means from that synopsis, there should be come answer. So what should be the questions? What the project proposes, why it is relevant to the field, how the design project explores the research question, what conclusions are researched. See, excluding the final conclusion, but the predictions, what you want to achieve, and what should be the problem solution, and what should be the steps, what you want to achieve, and accordingly, all formulation of synopsis is needed very clearly, precisely, and correctly. So first step we will see the first stage of the writing synopsis, the introduction of your title, introduction of your project. First slide we seen that there are various points which are included in the synopsis. In that we have to write first the introduction of your project. Introduction, why we have to need to write introduction of our project. Because of introduction, what happens, it will help to put project in conversation with the other projects on similar topics. So the reader will get the clear idea regarding what you are doing in your overall research or what is the project actually. Then introduction will also provide the necessary background information to the study and provides reader with some sense of overall research interest. See, when you are writing introduction, then the reader should be interested. Then the supervisor should be interested to read further. If they know that the project is this, at least the broader idea of the project, what you want to introduce in overall project, that should be informed from the introduction. So project helps put project in conversation with the other projects, so the reader will get the clear idea what should be the project. Then project will provide the necessary background information of overall project, which will give sense to the reader. They will have an overall interest about such project or not. Then introduction, everyone is writing the introduction. See, the copy pasting of the number of collected data is not an introduction. Yesterday we seen the title. Main title is there and short title is there and long title is there, as well as the main part and the second part. Main part is the general idea about the project, and the second part which will give the precise idea what you are going to deal with your project, right? So accordingly, the introduction should include all these points, main part as well as the second part also. But don't prescribe in that all issues, what should be your aim. Just give the background information and what you are going to tackle at the broader level in your project. That is the introduction of your topic as well as your title. Topic as well as title. What I am telling you, topic which will give the emphasization of the main part of the title. So the good introduction should include, will give the idea about the establish the general territory in which the research is placed. Then it will describe the broad foundations of study, including some references to existing literature. Then that will indicate the general scope of the project, but do not go into so much detail that latter sections become irrelevant. See, there are number of sections in your synopsis: introduction, relevance of your study, aim, objectives, scope, limitation, all those things are there. See, everything should not be repeated in introduction, but that should define the overall project background or picture of your project. That is important. Many times what happens, the students are writing all the things in introduction, then again that thing is repeated in relevance of study, that thing is repeated in aim and objective. and scope and limitation. That should not happen. So introduction inform the present scenario. So clearly it is very clear. See, this slide give you a clear idea about what should be the introduction. Inform the present scenario of the title of your topic. Present your unsatisfactory conditions and problems that need to be solved architecturally. That is important. See, each subject is going to relate with number of other subjects, but the problem is going to tackle with respect to architecture. That is, we have to remember always. So the informed present scenario, unsatisfactory conditions, what are happening around us and need to solve urgently with respect to architecture. Then state the reasons why it is necessary to conduct the study. Is it important, or just we are liking that topic? I have some emotions attached with that topic, so I have that selected. So such answers are not feasible in the dissertation or in any thesis. But state strongly what is the reason behind that to tackle such kind of study or tackle such kind of dissertation. Then which will lead the solution and why, what you define, identified the problem. See, in this we are not identifying the exact issues. Identified problems mean we are not asking the exact issues, but we are broadly defining that there are some problems. Okay, not critical. Then the study the historical background, then present it clearly and coherently. See, each and every topic in architecture or in the world, we can think that each and every topic should have an historical background. See, we also have an historical background, as we have our father, mother, our grandfathers and mother. So we all have an historical background. We are not individual. So like that, in architecture, there are some features in the history that we have to need to know clearly, and that we have to present clearly and coherently. Then connect that history with contemporary problems and issues. Then connect that historical background to contemporary issues. And then tell the reader that these are the issues, because of that we want to tackle this problem and to give some solutions at the end of our project. The problem may be related with the incompatibility of the present site, need for the proper planning, need for recognition of potentials, etc., etc. Whatever it may be, these are only the examples. Here I am giving the example. See, I have framed a title. Yesterday we seen the number of examples of the topic as well as title. Here today I have taken one example throughout the synopsis. At the end of the synopsis level, this single title is going to be followed. And here I framed a title, Sustainable Housing, Application of Qualities of Social Sustainability in Urban India. Okay, this is a title where I defined the main area of focus, as well as the second part of the title, where I have given a precise explanation of what I am going to be done in the overall project. Is it clear to you, all of you? I think yesterday what I told you, that I am repeating here. The main title is what? Sustainable housing. But what I am going to do further in my research, the application of qualities of social sustainability in urban India. Then we will continue this title with respect to introduction. What should be in the introduction? Inform the present scenario of urban housing in India. Present scenario means current situation of urban housing. See why I am here explaining that key sustainable housing. Sustainable housing. Housing, it's a general term in the urban planning, and sustainable, it's a theme which is going to apply for the housing. Okay. So when we are going to take a project for housing, it is not enough if we are discussing only about the housing. And it is not enough to talk about only sustainable criteria. See, sustainable have three pillars, as we know: economical, environmental, and social. We could not tackle all these three issues three parts in the stipulated time of our period, maybe 1 year, 2 years, 6 months, whatever it may be. So we have to focus only on a single. I decided that I will focus on the social sustainability aspect. Then housing, on which housing you are going to where you are going to tackle this project of housing. Then we have to decide that in India we have to tackle this. So housing where? In urban areas only. I am not focusing the housing of rural area. So in title I have clear that first part is sustainable housing and second part is the clarification of that, what I am going to tackle with respect to the throughout the project. So it will give the clear idea for the reviewer or the jury member that he or she will only focus on the social aspect of the sustainability in urban India only, and in that what he or she will do, they will apply the qualities of social sustainability. It's a very clear title which will give the idea of the overall project in a single sentence. That is very important, and accordingly we will frame what we have to write in our introduction. See, when we are writing introduction, when we are writing aim, objective, all those things, yesterday I told you we have to read a lot to select a topic as well as to finalize a topic, and in that we have to find out what are the issues, whether that is relevant or not to take in today's context. Are there any issues, or the people have done a lot of work and there is no any gap in between existing knowledge, then why I have to do that topic? If there is existing gap, then we have to find out before the finalization of title. See, it is very clear. Till the finalization of title, we have a sufficient data to write a synopsis. What we do generally, we finalize the title and then started to write synopsis. That is a very wrong process, very wrong. First, we have to read abundantly, anonymously, and then we can find out all the points, what I have to do, on what aspect I have to do, for whom we have to do, for where we have to do, and then frame the title, and then sit to write a synopsis. Then it will be easy to write to you within 2 days. After 2 months of reading, it will be easier to you. There will not be any problem to write a synopsis. So, introduction of this title, what should be included in that? Inform the present scenario of urban housing in India, means contemporary situation of urban India. Here I am not clearing anything, the name of the city, the typology of city, the scale of the city, the population of urban India. I am not talking about anything, just I am informing the present scenario of the general urban housing in India. Is it very clear to you, all of you? To study the historical background of housing in India in general. Generally, we are introduction is the general brief idea of your project. Connect the historical urban housing perspective to contemporary housing scenario. See, when we will study the historical background, then we can have an idea what type of housing in the history and what is now and what is the difference in between that. Connectivity in between these typologies with respect to the time frame we have to discuss here generally. Then we have to discuss the general issues regarding the housing. Set why need to focus housing in urban India. Discuss urban housing with respect to the social concern. So these are the points roughly what I am telling you. When we are sit to write, then we have to be very clear about what we have to write and what should not be write in the introduction. Okay. So the next part of our synopsis is the literature review. See what happens when we are writing an introduction, then also we are taking the reference of literature review. When we are selecting a topic, then also we are taking the reference of literature review. When we are finalizing the topic, then also we are taking the reference of literature review. See, literature review, it's a part of our methodology of our overall project. That is the first part, first stage till end, that will to be continued as a methodology. But in synopsis, we have to write as one of the point, and in your project, in dissertation book, you have to write one of the chapter on literature review. So, see, The method as a literature review and the point as a literature review, these two are the different things. Make it clear to you, all of you. Literature review means what existing literature is there that we have to review, that we have to read. See, is it clear to you, all of you, I think? Literature is reading from start to end of your project. Literature is the part that we started from our start to end of our project. Till conclusion, we need the help of literature. For the methodology, we have to read the literature. To find out the issues, we have to read the literature. Simultaneously, the variety of methods we have to be applied, but at the same time, literature review should be the point which is included in your synopsis. So what is the difference? I think you have clear about the methodology of literature review. But the point what should be included in synopsis, that is also important, and how to write the literature review. See, we have seen in the university variety of types the candidate are writing literature review. So what is wrong and what is right and how to write the literature review, that we are talking here. Okay. See the methodology, all the questions we will come up with at the end of the session, but write down the points if you have any doubt for any stage. Okay. We will discuss that later. So writing literature review, what we read throughout the journey to selection of topic and as well as to finalize the title. At that stage, we read a lot and we have the proofs. We need the proofs regarding that. We need the proofs regarding that. So what we read, what we analyze, what other people talk on that project before, who were worked on that, who have done the research on that, that will give a strong background to your project. See, what you are talking individually, we don't have any importance till we prove anything. So what we are talking introduction, so that is a very general idea about the process. But in the literature review, it's a point, it's a chapter in your dissertation or in your synopsis that will give the strong justification of your project, that the many famous people have tackled this problem, many people have given the solutions like that, and then there is a gap in between the existing knowledge. All the famous or the experts have worked on that particular project, but today till there is a need to tackle this point, we have to tackle this point, or we need to work urgently on this topic. Many people work in the history, many people are working in contemporary, many people have worked in the medieval period. They have done the variety of typology of work in this title, in this topic, but till today this is not happen with respect to this point. This issue is identified and there is no problem no solution till today, and what I am going to tackle as a researcher in this project. So literature review will give the strong sound background to your project, which will find the gap in between existing knowledge, and then you can conclude that this is the existing gap that I am going to solve throughout my dissertation. I think it is a very, very clear idea about the literature review. See, reviewing of literature means what? We are searching something, we are searching what the people have done before. Okay, why it is essential? Otherwise, we could not define that. What are the problems? What problems are going to be tackled, and they have already solutions. And what I'm doing now then? I'm repeating the same. I'm copying the same. I'm repeating the same in a other way or other different manner. So that should not happen. Then that is not viable. So in literature review, we can have a strong background of our project, which will give the difference in between the existing knowledge and what we are doing. So it is very important. Then what are the basic components of literature review? So literature review have a different weightage in that what type of publication you use to read, who are the authors, whether those are famous, have you read the books or not. See, the data from the internet is not going to be too sound when you are using in literature review. Many times what happens, we could not get the data from the books and books are not available within the limit of our stretch. Then the people are referring, which is easy to us to use the internet. At that time, there are options to use the internet, but you could not use internet vaguely, like we got the information from this site. That site has no any reference. The people are putting many things on the internet daily because anybody can free to upload your any information regarding anything. So that is not valid. There is no any authenticity of that. So literature should be so strong that the name of the publication, the name of the author is very important to write this point or to write this chapter in your dissertation. So the discussion of gap in research is also the important component of literature review. The summary of publication, main point, that is also important, and evaluation of publications contribution to the topic is also important. So these are the components. Then actually what is literature review? How to do the literature review? Means what? Just now I told you कि we are taking the reference which is very easy to access the internet and we can get the data from the internet which is not authentic many a times, at least 50% I can say that all the data which is on internet. See, when we see, I'm taking an example in our daily routine that some news is going to be spread, okay, and we are going to transfer on WhatsApp urgently. But that news is authentic or fake, we did not know till we that not found in the recognized site. That is Indian Express has told these things. Then we can say that this is the authentic. So we can spread that, or that can be said that it is a valid. If Indian Express, Times of India said that these are the things happening in India, then it is okay. Otherwise, anyone is telling, myself, Arundhati Watega is spreading the news, this is happening in Sangli. No meaning to that. If that comes in Sakar of City Sangli, Pudari of City Sangli, then only there is some viability. There is some feasibility to the proof of that news. So the literature should be such that that can be feasible, that can be have a authenticity of the author and the publication. Then only that literature is very giving a strong background to your project. Otherwise, the project becomes weak. So the literature review is a survey of scholarly sources. See, the mentioned word is scholarly sources. For that I have used here. Okay, literature review is a survey of scholarly sources that provides an overview of particular topic. Literature reviews are the collection of most relevant and significant publications regarding the topic in order to provide a comprehensive look at what has been said on the topic and by whom. See, by whom is important. What has been said, many people are saying we have our own opinions. But by whom, that is very important, because he or she has been justified and then they had written in their books or in articles or in journals or on their blogs. Okay. So by whom is important, and by whom that is published, that is also important. See, the weightage of publication is also more. A literature review should be a critical analysis of published sources. See, many times now we have a clear idea about what should be read and what should not be read. How should be read, what should be the reference. Okay. Then what we have to write in this point, when we are reading amount of literature regarding our title and topic, that we could not write as it is, because that is not going to relate with our title directly. We have to interpret in our language with critical analysis of that literature. Okay, that is called as literature review. Otherwise, we can call as copying of literature directly. See, reviewing of literature is different thing and copying of literature is different thing. When we are reviewing a literature, we are analyzing critically with respect to our title and interpreting in our own words. That is called as literature review. Okay. So literature review is an assessment of literature from our point of view. Our point of view means not our personal point of view, our title's point of view. The assessment of literature should be from the title point of view. Then we can provide the summary of that literature, classify into the different category. For example, as I have taken the title, for example, so sustainable housing, then urban India, the social sustainability. These three tags are there in title. So accordingly, we have to classify those points, summarize those points, comparison should be there. You have to evaluate from your point of view with respect to your title and then write your literature review. That is the point. See, there is a question from Ganesh. If the data is from official architecture website, it is okay. You have to take the reference of that in your reference list. See, the authentic websites we can use. I will tell that in further our slides. The reference point is also there at the end of the writing synopsis, where I will explain all the ideas about that, what we have to refer and what should not be referred. See, the authentic websites are there. ResearchGate is one of the example of the website, or the various companies have their individual websites, or various authors have their individual blogs, or the online books and referred journals are available. UGC journals are also there. So we will have different sources on internet also, but those should be authentic. Okay. Is it clear? I think we can use the internet, but authenticity is important. The official websites, the government websites, we can take the data from that. The official website from that we can, data means any kind of data, images, graphs, maps, pie charts, literature, whatever it may be, but those should be authentic. And we have to mention the refer in that in the bracket, or there are many methods to write that references also. And in literature review, that should be right very precisely. That I will explain in the point when I will discuss the references and bibliography in detail. See, there is, in literature review, we have to write citation text. Citation text, we call as a citation text. This is I cited and viewed in this chapter of this book, and the book is published in this era, and I am taking the reference of this which is feasible to your topic. We have to write that kind of method. We have to adopt that kind of method that I will discuss further. Okay, then what should be done in literature review and what should not be done? Here is the point is that. So first I will tell you what we have to do and what we have to not do. So don't do just listing what previous research has done. See, from last 2-3 years, what we have seen in university, that the people are writing the literature review in the sense that they are taking 5-10 references from various articles or web pages or books, whatever it may be. They are writing that this is author in this book, and then that para is there in their words. Then next title is there of that book, and then they are writing the second one. Then the third one, fourth one, fifth one, and the literature review point is finished. That is very wrong method. Okay. Do not a list like an annotated bibliography in which a summary of each source is listed one by one. That is very wrong method. See, what will give that literature idea about your project? Because that is mentioned only regarding what that author has done with respect to their project. But how it is relevant to your project, that you have to write in your literature review. So that literature should be synthesized with your topic, with your title, with your issues, with your methodology. And then you have to be analyze that and conclude this is the research gap, what has done by the various people, various philosophers, various architects, various planners, and now I have going to be tackle this. That should be the conclusion. So in literature review, one paragraph should be there of the conclusion. See, it is a gist. Here we have to write in short literature review, but when you are writing a chapter of literature review in your dissertation book, then that will be more detailed enough. So what we have not to do, is it very clear to you, all of you, I think? Then what kind of methodology we have to apply to write literature review? Try to synthesize the information in an argument that supports research approach. See, we have finalized that what we want to do, where want to do, what issues we are going to tackle, and who are the users or who are the clients. We decided already in our title. Okay, then that title, regarding that title, we are searching about various literature, what kind of work has done in all over the world, India and surrounding region. Okay, then that work is going to be parallel, maybe parallel with your subject, maybe that may be vary from your subject. One of the point is going to be going parallel with your subject. Then you synthesize that information of literature with your topic. Then that information you have to structure chronologically, topically, or by variables. Variables means what? If one is going to depend on other and second is individual. Okay. So sustainable housing. Sustainable housing. So housing is independent variable and sustainable is dependent on that. Okay, so these variables we have to find out in our literature review, and our title, what are the variables which is independent and which is dependent variable, that we have to find. Otherwise, there is no use of any your project information. That is only the collection of data. See, when you are writing in the annotated bibliography, or you are only listing the list of the authors with respect to their summary of what they have written in separate paragraphs, then that is only the collection of information. That is not the part of your literature review. So you gather the information, scrutinize them, synthesize them with respect to your title, structure chronologically, topically, or by variables. You can adopt any method which may be suitable to your project. Then write in the format of standard essay made up of 3 components. So the literature should be write in a manner of 3 components. First part should be the introduction, second part should be the body of literature, and third part should be the conclusion. Okay. So the relevant literature. Just now I discussed what is relevant, but then also when we are reading the relevant literature, what we just now take the authenticity of that author or the website or whatever it may be, then also how it is relevant. When we are getting enough data from various sources, then we forget about the title and we are very become conscious to get the data, collect the data, and dump in our folders and our my computer, right? That should not happen. We should be very conscious. That literature, what we get from these sources, whether that is relevant to your title, to your project, to some part of your project, then only there is a validity of that literature review. So many times or every time when you are taking the reference of literature review, when you are reviewing the literature, then to that literature you have to ask the questions. These points are going to be fulfilled through that literature review, then only that can be used for your project. Otherwise, that could not be used for your project. Okay. So what should be the process? General process I am discussing, when everybody they can determine their own individual process when they are going to tackle their project. But the general process should be like that. First determine your purpose of literature. Otherwise vaguely we are reading and reading and reading. That is of no use, because we have a limited time. We want to achieve something, and for that we are reading, So determining what you want to achieve, what you want to address through literature review, you have to ask the question to literature review, what kind of literature you want, what you are searching. So determine the purpose of your literature review. Then do the extensive reading. When you analyze that, your purpose, when you find out your purpose, what you want to find, what you want to do, and which kind of literature you want, which kind of matter or content you are searching for, then start to do the extensive search of literature. Then what kind of literature should be? That is a question again. So just now I told you that there should be the authoritative literature should be there, authenticity of literature should be there, that should be very relevant to your topic, that should be more current. See, 100 years of before data we are using. If that is relevant, then only that is applicable. See, now the world is so fast and we are so fastly changing. After every 10 years or after every 5 years, the data is outdated, right? After 2 years, for example, we are taking the mobile is going to be outdated. When we are talking about the mobile, when we are talking about our laptops or any gadget, see after 6 months, 1 month, 1 year, the data is going to be updated, and those kind of gadgets are not useful in our daily routine. So, I'm talking about the utility of that particular object or the usefulness of that object. That should be there. Okay. So what kind of literature you are going to read, that is important. Outdated data is not useful for your writing literature. So the data should be most current, or if that is ancient or traditional, that should be very useful. And you have to define, justify, synthesize and summarize. Any government document which may be outdated, the policies are lapsed and the new policies have come up. Then what is the use of that policy? Those are not valid. See, that is a point. So use the authentic current data. Then the process of literature review. The process is very simple. Just now we are talking now. First we have to read a lot. It's a first thing, and second we have to read critically. Third thing is then we have to critically read, at the same time we have to analyze critically that data with respect to our topic. Ganesh, all those things we will talk later at the end of the session. You ask definitely in the chat, remind me afterwards. So the critically reading as well as critically analyzing of that literature, then only after analysis we can conclude that this literature is going to be synthesized with my title in that manner, and you can conclude. So analyzing of literature, strongly analyzing with respect to key concepts. For example, what we have taken a title as sustainable housing. See, it's a key concept. Key term is sustainable, key term is housing. These two terms are different. One is from planning and second is from theme. So we have to clear these terms in our literature review. What is sustainability, what is social sustainability, what are the parameters of sustainability, then what are the parameters of social sustainability, what is our till today, that you have to mention in your literature review. Okay. So the key concepts of key terms is important to write in your literature review. Not only write, after analyzing critically, you have to write in your own words, that is important. Then that should be very relevant. See, key concepts are sustainable, it's a general term, and the key concept of sustainability is there. But when you are relating that sustainability with respect to the aspect of social sustainability and with respect to the housing, then that key term which is going to relevant with the housing, that should be relevant with the housing. So to specify that topic with respect to the relevancy of sustainability in literature review. Then explain the relationship of these all terms, all these patterns and trends what are going on. That should be the part of your literature review. And then again that should be credible source. Then finally you will come up with some gap of literature review which is required for further study. Then your study will start. Okay, so the structure of body, structure of literature review just now we discussed is that introduction, body part, and third part is the conclusion. In introduction, give an outline, why you are writing review, why the topic is important, aspect of the topic will be discussed, the criteria used for your literature section, then the body should include, each body paragraph should deal with different themes that is relevant to your topic, synthesize several of your reviewed readings into each paragraph so that there is a clear connection between various sources, critical analysis of each source for how they contribute to themes to your research. What we just talked about, all this is included in this body part. Okay, which includes the historical backgrounds, methodologies previously used for your topic, previous studies which is going to relate your topic, mainstream versus alternative viewpoints are there if those also included, whether those are important for your literature review, then only you can add that, and concluding your manual which will find out the gap in between existing study which will guide the further direction of your study. Okay, so that the conclusion of literature review will give the overall perspective of your topic. That is important. Then only that is ideal literature review. So this is an example. What we have taken for the introduction, the same example I am taking here. What points we have to follow. See what we have taken the title, Sustainable Housing, Application of Qualities of Social Sustainability in Urban India. Okay, so the rigorous reading, first stage is what reading? The reading about sustainability, social sustainability, housing in India, urban housing in India, study the timeline with reference to urban settlement from ancient till contemporary, etc. Various points will add here, like those. Okay, then what we have to do with respect to this reading? Do critical analysis of the same points, assess the literature what you read. Assess means assess with respect to the credentials, with respect to the authenticity, with respect to the points which you have to cover, weightage should be given or not, that all assessment we have to do. Then summarize and classify each aspect separately, then synthesize all these aspects with each other and come up with conclusion and the gap in existing research. Okay, that should be there. Is it clear to all of you? I think. So the next point of the synopsis is the problem statement. See, I am giving a figure where there is a question. We are wandering here and there and we are finding out the problem. What should be the problem statement? See, many universities, this can be called as an hypothesis, which will design a question with respect to our research, as well as we have to frame what we have to find out. Here we have to find out the issues at broader level, and in the relevance of our study we have to justify our issues and state the issues clearly. So that is the difference between the problem statement and the relevance of study. Many universities problem statement says that that should include the aim and objective, scope and limitations all. But many universities tell that the aim, objective, hypothesis, scope and limitations all should be discussed at broader level here. If identify a problem, identify a gap by asking the number of questions, state the issues at broader level, define the scope and limit of your project. A problem statement is a concise description of an issue to be addressed in your project or a condition to be improved upon. It identifies the gap between the current state and desired state of process or product. See, in literature review, when we are reading a literature, we have come up with some conclusion which will give the overall background, overall description of your project where we have already identified a gap see what we have to do, right? So when we are finding out a gap, that conclusion part will come here in the problem statement. See, these are the gaps which we have find in the study till what we have done from the existing sources. And now by experiment we have to prove that. By experiment or by theoretical part we have to prove that. That depends on the type of project. You are proving theoretically or practically or by combining both. Every project have a different method. But what identified gaps we have to clear here in the problem statement by asking the number of questions and find out the clear and precise issues. So we have to ask the various questions: where, whom, what, why, who. Like these questions we have to ask and design our questions accordingly and state the problem clearly. Problem statement includes an explanation of the key concepts or issues that comprise the problem. Problem statement includes the explanation. See, here we are giving the explanation of key concepts and issues. For example, sustainable. What is sustainable? So first we have to know that. If we know what is the concept of sustainable, then we can recognize on the issue what is happening around us with respect to housing. That is not sustainable, so we are finding out that issue. We have to tackle the approach of how towards housing with the aspect of sustainability. Then key concept, key social sustainability. What is social sustainability, for example? Then we have to be clear regarding that concept. Then again we have to analyze with respect to housing and then find out the issue. So comprise the key concept or issue with the problem. Okay, that should be stated in the problem statement. The problem in an architecture thesis is most likely stated that using the words like to investigate, to observe, to describe, to analyze, to scrutinize, etc. These words we are using. So the problem statement is composed of general statement of major problem and specific questions pertaining to your thesis topic. May be able to come up with different specific needs that you have identified are supposed to make your project unique from other studies. Otherwise, your project will become very general of no use because already all those things are mentioned in various books and articles and by various authors and the architects and planners, and that again repeated in your thesis or in your dissertation. There is no difference in that. Then what is the use of your thesis and project? The time is wastage, the methodology is wastage, so many sources are going to be waste. So that should not happen. So problem statement should be very carefully you have to frame. So the problem statement should include both the knowledge and real life aspect of research problem. Problem statement sets boundaries around the scope of your study. Problem statement places the investigation within the context of the present day knowledge. Problem statement clarifies the primary relationship and variables to be used. The statement identifies the area of scholarly inquiry to be investigated and the need for doing the research. All these points we have discussed before 2-3 slides. All these are summarized here. Problem statement should include knowledge as well as real life aspect of research problem. We have to define the boundary of our scope. The places of investigation means we have to define the context with respect to the present day knowledge. Clarify the primary relationship and variables. The statement identifies the area of scholarly inquiry. So all this should be there. What should be the aim of purpose of problem statement? Explain the goals and objectives of the study. Goal means aim. We can use many times word goal rather aim. Explain the aim and objective of your study. What do you hope to find out finally? Show the original contribution of your study by explaining how your research questions or approach are different from previous research. That should be included in your problem statement. Means what will you add to field of knowledge? See, till today various people have done these things. Then what you will add further in that, or you will change in that, or that is required. Include a rationally means reason for study, why the study is required. Be clear about what your study will not address. That is also important. Otherwise, many things are there we could not tackle simultaneously. So we have to mention indirectly that we are focusing only this point and not these points are going to be addressed in this overall project. So put the problem in context is important. Describe the precise issue precisely, very precisely. In the point of introduction, the issue we tackled with respect to the information. In literature review, we discuss the issue with respect to different literature reviews. In problem statement, in our word, we have to precise the issue of our project. See, issue is going to be there in information point also, in literature review point also, in problem statement also. Context is there. In information point is also there. Context we have referred. In literature review also we have referred the context, and in problem statement also we are referring the context. But how we are referring that context, that is important. In first point of synopsis, in introduction, we have the brief general idea about the context of India. Second point, in literature review, we define the context with respect to housing in India, regarding various authors, various planners, various philosophers, what they wrote, what they think, what they searched till today. Then we conclude the gap in between that. And after conclusion and finding out the gap in literature review, here we have to precisely state the issue, what you are going to address in your thesis. That is important. Show the relevance of problem. Otherwise, many times what happens, if there is no relevance, the title is different and what you are tackling throughout the project is different, there is no any relevance with the title of your issue. So that is the problem. Many a times happens at undergraduate level and at postgraduate level also. But the students are going to be awarded, and after that there is no work has to be done. But this method, if we applied in our profession, then our profession will flourish definitely as a well-known architect. Okay. So set the objectives of research and objectives which will find out the way how you are going to achieve your aim. Okay. So this is the example. Just we discuss simultaneously actually example, but till again I'm explaining here. Title is Sustainable Housing, Application of Qualities of Social Sustainability in Urban India. So literature review, here what I am stated, that already I told you just now within a few minutes. Literature review will give a guideline to project from start to end. Then ask the questions related to your project. In problem statement, what do you know about sustainability? Who are the beneficiaries, clients or users? Who are the clients? Which context you are going to be work on? Why is this strategy is important to this project? How it will be significant, etc. Number of questions will be there and you have to answer in that problem statement. That will be your aim of your project background, as well as you will define the issues clearly. So the next point of our synopsis when we are writing, that is the relevance of study or the significance of study. See, the image here is that which is giving the significance. I have got the issue which is not going to tackle till today. See, this is the importance of the title of mine which is going to tackle by me till today has not tackled by anyone. Maybe it's a very minute detail you are introducing in this way, broader area of focus. Then also you have got an idea, see, this is I'm going to be tackling. So you are explaining the relevance, the importance of your study with respect to overall area of interest, what you are going to be contributing, why you are going to be contributing, this issue is going to be contributing. So the relevance is very important. Relevance is going to be emphasized, the importance of study, how you are going to relate this topic with respect to world, with respect to society, with respect to area of focus. It is emphasized the significance of the importance of research, that is reason and aim of selection of the topic of research. How much degree you are influencing your project, that also you have to explain, means the degree to which something is related or useful to what is happening or being talked about, means what is the intensity, how much percentage you are going to be contributed. Then also you are going to giving the significance with respect to what you are tackling throughout your project, to contribute to that area of interest as well as to contribute to society. Come up with different specific need, otherwise that will be of not use. Come up with different specific need. So the clear statement of significance, how we can be right. In that, first discuss the methodological or theoretical contribution you anticipate making to existing knowledge in your field or subfield. See, your field, if I am working in urban planning and urban design and my subfield is housing, I am only working in housing, then I am taking an example, just telling, then what I am going to contribute with respect to housing. Housing is my subfield. Then discuss that methodology or any theoretical contribution you are contributing through your project. Then you have to explain in this relevance of study. Set the practical and the theoretical importance of problem and objectives of study. Explain the usefulness and benefit of the study, if possible, for both for outside world as well as for the research community. See, when we are doing any research, any project or any thesis, then that should be useful. Definitely the first criteria, that should be useful to the society. That is the first criteria. That must be fulfilled. And second, maybe if possible, that is useful to research community. Maybe your methodology can be adopted by the other persons, which will be very useful, which will become a role model for the such kind of project. So such kind of also contribution you can be contributed. To make a relevance clear, explain these points. Help to solve a practical or theoretical problem, address a gap in literature, builds on existing research, that should be built on existing research. Otherwise, this author has told, but he has not done any work in that, as well as he has not done in research lively. See, for yesterday I talked to you about the utopian ideas. That should not be happen here. They have some weightage, definitely they have some weightage, but that should be fulfilled practically also, or that has been done by practically, maybe there is a failure or any accessibility, then also builds on existing research, proposes a new understanding of the topic, specific and general benefits likely to be achieved after completion of project, explain reasons for doing this research, how it relates to existing work on topic, and what new insights will it be contribute. So this should be included in your this point, relevance of study. Here we are taking again example, the same example we are continuing here. Sustainable housing, application of qualities of social sustainability in urban India. After studying the problem at broader level, see, we studied the problem up to problem statement defined level, where we explain the broader issue of the problem. and then find out the importance of our study, and then we will discuss here the importance of working on urban housing in India with reference to social sustainability. See, if there is no importance, if there is no use in current situation to work on urban housing that is going well all over the India, then what is the need to study that? If all is going well, then what is the need to study on housing? No need to do anything new. If then explain the importance why you are studying on this point and why taking the reference of aspect of social sustainability. Improve, justify the need. Issues regarding housing approach in India, housing design and planning approach in India, issues related with housing policies, issues related with contemporary design strategies, psychological aspect of people living and using the different places and spaces, era of industrial and information technology, impact of virtual world in people's life. Accordingly, after critical analysis, find out exact issues and clarify that which issues you are going to tackle. Okay, so these, with reference to these points should be there. When we are questioning all these, there should be the answer in your relevance of study. So next point is aim. So what should be the aim? When we see in the introduction of our project, when we read a lot of literature by the various famous authors, planners, philosophers, and we conclude and we find out the gap in between the research in the existing work. Then we stated the problem, we find out the issues. Then we relevant our title with respect to the problem statement. Then we have to identify our aim. What should be our aim? Aim should be single, so the pointer is 1 at the center. So aim means what? Actual aim is what you hope to achieve at the end of the project. What you achieve to end of the project. See, when we are taking the admission at bachelor's, what our last aim is to get a degree. When we are taking admission at master's, our intention is to become masters. That is the achievement of the end of the our project. Okay, like that, aim is what everybody should have aim in their life, not only in education but in our daily routine life. Yeah, I have to reach, I have to start today my seminar at 10 sharp. That is my aim in the morning. So before 10, I have to do this work. So then I can reach here up to 9:45. That should be my aim. So aim in our daily routine, we have various aims in a single day, for week, for year, for month, for various aspects. In our daily routine life, I am taking a lateral example here just for change. What I am giving my example in today's mornings, as well as we have various aims at various levels. At house level, we have different aims. At profession level, we have different aims. But at the end of our particular stipulated time, we have to achieve these things in our life, in our house, in our profession, with respect to our children, with respect to blah 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 things. Okay. So, in architectural dissertation, what we decided the title, what we started the work, with respect to literature review, with respect to writing the synopsis, in that synopsis, we have to write what you are going to achieve at the end of the project. So here we have to address the project outcomes. We have to write the general intention of your research, which paint a picture of your research project should be. See, it is not measurable. It's okay. It is not measurable because the objectives are measurable. Aim is not measurable. It's a general statement of your overall outcome of the project. But what you want to achieve at the end of the project, that is the aim. But here I am going to highlight it that the aim should be architectural. Aim should be architectural. See, the title is that key sustainable housing and the application of social sustainability to urban housing in India. Okay, So that title, when I am tackling, many times we wander here and there and we become social worker. So we change our role as an architect and we become social worker, we become economist, we become doctor. We are only thinking about the hygienic approach with respect to the medical point of view. But that hygienic approach we have to tackle architecturally. We have to tackle that hygienic approach with respect to planning, with respect to architecture, with respect to planning, with respect to design. We have to tackle that hygienic problem. The doctors have their playing their own role with respect to hygiene. The municipal corporation is playing their main role as their administrative to maintain the hygiene. Those all are different things. I am telling only just example here. See, when hygiene is the issue, if you find out with respect to urban housing, okay, then what we think that with respect to urban housing, if hygiene is not going to handle properly, we forget that we are an architect, we are planner, we are designer, and we are playing the role of social workers. These issues are there. There are no dustbins. There is no any garbage system. There is that is missing. This is not happening properly. All these issues we discussed, all those are non-architectural issues. Those are not related with planning and design. So here is very important to very precisely we have to focus. We don't wander here and there and only focus on architectural aim, architectural problem, architectural relevance, architectural objective. Okay. Many times students wanders with surroundings rather than architecture. Goal should be in the realm of architecture specific that I want to tell you. Just now I told you example how we are wandering here and there by taking an example of hygiene. Okay. Why you are always on, any one of you from mic? We will on at the end of the session and you want to speak anything you can. Yesterday I have not focused on chat portion, but today I am precisely working on chat also simultaneously and I am finding that what people want to discuss with me. Okay, we will definitely discuss at the end of the session. So today we will focus on aim now. So the aim should start with verb to determine, to explore, to investigate, to evaluate. Then aim is the overall purpose of your research and that should be written like that to start with verb. The aim should be single, that should be one, that should be in single sentence or most probably two sentences. It is okay. Aim is just a longer and more explanatory version of title. Aim is just a longer and more explanatory version of our title. Aim should be framed in only one sentence. At morning I told you he aims is wrong. Many a times in many universities or in many people writing aims and definitely they are writing 2, 3, 4 aims. See, we could not attain various aims in the single project. We have very less time and for those to achieve those aims, we have to work a lot with various points of view. That is not, we can fulfill our project within a limit with respect to satisfactory quality level and we could not gain anything from that project. We could not achieve our target to give a contribution to society with respect to new knowledge or new experiment. The aim statement should not exceed a paragraph, half page. People are writing. So I am mentioned here very clearly. And aims and objectives. Here I write aims and objectives should not be too vague, ambitious, broad in scope. Just repeat each other in different terms. Just be a list of things related to your research topic. Many times people are only listing these things. Where maybe there is a relevance of that aim to your project title or not, but people are listing number of things. in objectives also as well as in aim also. Then that may be a very times very broader level. We have an idea about to do what, but we make the scope very broader. That is not very give the clear idea of our project. So all these things should not happen with respect to our aim. So our example is the title is Sustainable Housing Application of Qualities of Social Sustainability in Urban India. After identification, we should state the project aim to explore the impact of social sustainability on housing in urban India. See, what I framed the aim to explore the impact of social sustainability on housing in urban India, or you can create another sentences also to investigate and apply the qualities of social sustainability on housing in urban India. So here, what will be my end of project? What I will investigate, I will conclude these are the aspects of social sustainability in urban India till today. These people have tackled these investigations, and I added these two also. But these three are not applicable now, and these two, what I find out, those are applicable as the qualities of social sustainability. And in urban India, we can apply that as a role model for urban housing. Okay, so the objectives. Objectives should be measurable, realistic, specific, achievable, and time specific. Objectives. Then what are the objectives? See, many a times we have get confused. What is the difference in between aim and objective? Aim is very clear that what you want to achieve at the end of the project, and objective is the actions which are taken throughout the project to achieve your aim. Objective is the actions what we are taken throughout the project to achieve our aim. So there is a difference between aim and objective. See, aim is the output of your project and objective is the throughout method what you are going to achieve. So should be specific statements that define measurable output. See, aim is not measurable, that is a general statement, but objective should be measurable. From that, we can get some outcome, definitely outcome which will lead towards our final project fulfillment. Means what? What steps will be taken to achieve the desired outcome? What steps we have to take throughout the project to achieve our desired outcome, that is the objective. Objective will tell the reader how you went about answering the questions. See, we frame the questions in our mind or in paper that these are the issues, how we are going to tackle. So how that questions are raised and what will be the solution to achieve. In between that, there is a methodology. That methodology is called as an objective. Objective should give an initial insight into research methods, giving a preview of type of data and analysis the dissertation deals with. The objective should give an initial insight into research methods, giving a preview of the type of data and analysis the dissertation deals with. Here again I highlighted that objective should be architectural. Just now I have given the example of aim. We have to maintain the hygiene, then that should be tackled architecturally, not as a social worker, not as economist, not as a corporator, not as a government agent, not as a government member, but purely from the point of view of planner, designer, and as architect, we have to tackle the issue of hygiene with respect to urban housing. So objective should be target specific, which eventually leads to achieve the architectural goal. Objective should be consistent with topic that you want to work on. Don't move here and there, don't wander here and there. Or the objectives are different, aim is different, the issues are different, many a times such things happen, many a times. So aim and objective should start with verb that we see. Key aim should be start with example what I have given to determine, to investigate, to evaluate. Such verbs are there when you are using to frame the aim. Here also objectives started with the verb, but here I made two parts of the verb. Those are the strong verbs and the weak verbs. We can prepare from any verb. We can prepare objectives from any verb. In general level, we are using to understand, to study all those things like verb, to study and understand the urban housing in India. I frame an objective to study and understand the urban housing in India. Taking an example of weak verb. See what achieved from that after studying and understanding what we will do further. That is a general. See, objectives should be the measurable thing. Objectives should be the measurable thing. From that we have to achieve something, such kind of outcome which will give the further guideline to achieve the aim. So to know the contemporary housing in India. Just now I framed the title by weak verb to know the urban housing in India. What is the use of knowing of urban housing in India? No use. Okay. So accordingly, we have to select the verbs which will give definitely the measurable outcomes. The major properties of the objectives are that should be specific. Just, see, when you are using weak verbs, then the objectives are become very general and those are not precise or tangible. From that, we can have only the imaginary idea about the project. We are not firm about. Okay, so precisely we have to frame our objectives, and for that we have to choose the strong word. The objective should be specific, which will give the details about the aspect of expectations from that objective. Objective should be precise, which will give the exactness and accuracy of expression of your objective. Tangible, which will give the real but not imaginary idea of the objective. Objective should be measurable, maybe large or small, but that should be measurable and that should be fulfilled in stipulated time. That should be fulfilled in stipulated time. Okay. How many objectives should be? Minimum 2 to 3 objectives and maximum 4 to 5 objectives are sufficient for completion of your project and to achieve your aim. But there is no repetition of objectives. Objectives should be the steps of your project, how to achieve the aim. So example is here, sustainable housing, application of qualities of social sustainability in urban India. The title is that, and accordingly we can frame the objectives. To compare and analyze the traditional housing typology to contemporary housing typology in urban India. To analyze the impact of social aspect on human behavior and psychological comfort with respect to housing in urban India. To construct the qualities of social sustainability for housing in urban India. To synthesize the qualities of social sustainability with urban housing in India. See, these are the 4 steps to achieve my aim. How? First, what I will do, first step of my project is what? To compare and analyze the traditional housing typology to contemporary housing typology in urban India. I'm not taking the name of city here. We can take any example. We can take any example from any part of India or any city. Okay. Then we can analyze the social impact on human behavior of the same and the psychological comfort when they are living in that particular housing, when they are living in that particular urban area, then how the human behavior is, whether they are feeling psychologically comfort or not, that we will analyze. Then accordingly we construct the qualities of social sustainability for housing in urban India. Then all these three will synthesize and we will give the final outcome. So these are the broader objectives. Many times sub-objectives are also framed in many universities. So step by step, students will not get confused and be clear with respect to their project. So the next session, next point of the synopsis is the scope and limitations. Scope and limitations. So the scope, the word itself says that is the mainly the coverage of your study. Coverage, how much area is going to be covered in your project, what things are going to be covered, what theme is going to be included in your project and what are not, that is limitation. The scope of the study should include the brief statement of the general purpose of the study, the target use beneficiaries of the study. For example, will it be local users? Will it be respect to activities or what? Clear that where and when the study will be conducted and who the subject are. In scope, you have to list all the work that is involved in the project. See, scope is mainly explain the coverage area of the study. Actually, in title, I told you that I am explaining the area of also. The area of interest is urban planning. Then I worked on the niche area, that is housing. But here I finalize the coverage, that is I will work on sustainable housing, that is coverage area. Then in second part of title I mentioned that I will work on social sustainability and I will work on urban housing. So the scope I have defined in my title itself. Okay, I have given the clear idea. I am not explaining or I am not dealing with respect to the rural housing or the environmental or economical sustainability. So regarding our title, the scope of the project is the study will focus on the investigation and application of social aspect of sustainability on group housing in small towns in India. Here I explained my scope precisely. See, the study will focus on investigation and application of social aspect of sustainability on group housing in small towns in India. See, urban, it's a very general term, but in title, I differ that from the rural. Then now, here in urban, there are many urban areas with respect to classification of people, with respect to the classification of town and city, metro city, mega city, small city, like that. And then housing, plotted housing, group housing, cluster housing, many housing typologies are there. So precisely I mentioned here, I only focus on group housing and only I will take the reference of small towns in India. Then limitations. Then what is the difference in between scope and limitations? Limitations make the statement of constraint or limiting factor of our project. Discuss the boundaries with respect to the objectives of the project. Limitations are the characteristics that limit the scope and define the boundaries of the study. Now you thought that here we explained the group housing and the small town. Then again what we want to explain? Again some things are remain to explain. The scope and limitations may be applicable to what? We can limit the place, limit the time, limit the people, value, theme, object. Here we limited the theme. With respect to the sustainable only, I am not working on green and other themes, but I am only focusing on sustainable. Again, we limit the theme on that theme. I am working only on social sustainability. Here, I limit the place where I am working only in India, in urban India. In urban India, I am only working on small towns. Okay. So, such kind of things should be tackled in scope and limitation. Most of the candidates make mistake by stating that what their project will not to be about. That is not okay. What you are going to do, that we have to write. What we are not going to tackle, that we are not writing in our synopsis. If we are not working on metro cities in urban area, we are not working on the mega cities, that is not required. But what required is that what we want to do, what should be your scope. So the limitation is, as sustainable is a wide term which includes the economical, environmental and social aspect, and the study is only focused on social aspect of sustainability on group housing in cities Sangli, Maharashtra, India as a case. Here I again come up with minute level of the choosing and limiting the area, choosing the limiting the place. The small towns, I will focus on small towns in India, but now I have a very limited time, so I will take as a small town city Sangli. Maybe that can be applied as a role model for the cities like Sangli, which is having the same population, which is having the same socio-cultural aspect, that can be applicable to other cities for housing also. So that can be handled. Okay, today I think we will stop here. Tomorrow we will tackle the rest of the points which are included in the synopsis, that is methodology and references or bibliography. We will discuss that in detail, and then we will discuss about the plagiarism and what are the rules and regulations of the plagiarism. If anybody want to discuss with me, I will unmute to all of you and you can discuss one by one. If I can fulfill your answer, it's okay. Otherwise, you have to research again on that. One by one, I unmuted to all of you. If you want to ask any question, please. Is it audible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I unmuted to all of you. You can ask if you want to ask any question. But I think everybody, they muted themselves off. Now you can on your speaker one by one, not all of you at the same time, because that will again become chaos. If there is some sounds around us. I think no one has a question, so we can finish today's session. Mira, do you have any questions? Because your single speaker is on, so I think.
Ma'am,
Huh?
Shivani Kate here.
Huh?
What are the most prominent things to look after while doing the synopsis?
Most prominent things
Yeah.
to look up. First one,
Yeah.
the title should be right. That is the only prominent thing. If the title
Okay.
is clear, if there is no doubt what we are going to tackle, what issues we are going to handle throughout the project, on which topic we are going to work, which themes we are going to apply your project, then only we can write the synopsis, when we will get the clear idea about all those things of the revision of literature. So the reading is the most prominent criteria to write the synopsis.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Ma'am,
Huh?
this is Shweta Shinde. Ma'am, actually, if the title means we are writing the title, we should give the clear idea of what we are going to do in that thesis project or something else. We should give the clear title means that information that I am going to do work on this project. Is it necessary, or we can give it is as an synonym or something like that?
Synonym we can use. Synonym has the same meaning. No?
Yes, but as in something like that, if I'm going to do a project on crematorium or something like that, and I can give a title like life or death and something like that.
No, no. Frame the title and tell me. Then I will ask some questions from your side. If those questions are fulfilled by that title, then that is
Yes.
okay.
Okay, okay. Okay, ma'am.
Crematorium is only the area of focus. No? That is
Yes.
not the title.
Yes.
And that comes under which topic? Which category?
Okay.
That also we have to know first.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Then we can design only with respect to that is the campus planning part, that may be the architectural part, or that comes under any other.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
So just I want to tell you at your level, when we are deciding a title, we are only focusing on the topic. We are not
Yes,
focusing on
ma'am.
title. And then
Yes, ma'am.
also many times what happens, we are focusing on area of focus or area of interest and not decide, and we did not know that area of interest under comes under this topic. So that is going to relate with these titles. So
Yes, yes, ma'am.
here and because for that there is a rigorous reading is important. We have to gain knowledge in depth. That's the thing. What you are
Yes,
doing.
ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Anybody wants? Hello everyone. You want to ask any doubt? Okay then. Thank you. We will meet tomorrow for the last session of this webinar series.